what's going on, guys? So in this episode we're going to be going through buttons and making it so that they open or close doors. So it's just an example from a previous project where I'll just show you the example. So as you can see, you hit the button and then it opens the door, and they've got some sound effects and things like that as well. So let's get straight to it. Alright guys, so once you're in your project, the first thing we need is we need to add two sprites, one for the button and one for the actual door. So we're going to insert an object, sprite, and then, so I'm yet to include these into the asset pack. If you are using the asset pack, there's a link in the description, and I'll probably add these assets in the near future. We do have the buttons included in the asset pack, so you can, if you head over to the asset pack inside of MISC, you can see we've got the buttons right here. So we can add these two, and then what we want to do is we just want to make it so we'll set the speed to 0, and then we can just name this animation. We can just rename this to button. Alright guys, so once you've done that, we just need to head over again, the sprite. For this, I'm going to be using these assets here that I created for a previous project, so I'm just going to drag these in. But as you can see, we just have a full rectangle, and then you could just have your two separate bits with a gap. Again, you don't have to make your door work like this. The same functionality will be there. It's just this is the style I'm going for. So anyways, what you want to do is just make sure that you have your collision set. So I could guess the polygon shape, and sometimes it just doesn't do it exactly right. For this, it doesn't have to be perfect though, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And then now the thing is, so for your open collisions, what we want to do is we could just to make this nice and easy, we can just basically set this and just drag this right up here, just so that you can't, so there's no collision in between. Once again, we want to set the speed to 0. And I will just rename this to door. We also want to rename this sprite to door. And make sure it's on the main layer. Okay, great. Next, what we're going to do is we're just going to add a new variable. Now, this is what we're going to do is we're going to call this state. We can keep it a number. And basically, this is just going to allow for further functionality, so that if you wanted to, maybe let's say you could set it so that you want to be able to open it back up again. So when you hit on the button, when you stand on the button, it will be able to compare the state and be able to say, if the state's 0, set it to 1. If not, set it back to 0. So keep the state on 0. Alright guys, once you've sorted that, we can head over to your event sheet, and we're just going to create a new group, and we'll call this door. We're going to add an event, and we're going to search character on collision with another object. We're going to set it to the button, and then we want to right click here, and we want to add another condition. Now this condition, what we want to do is we want to check the animation of the button, so we want to say compare frame, and then is it equal to 0? So character on collision with the button, and the animation frame is 0, and then we're going to call a function. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click, add a function, and we can just call this open door, something like that. I'm going to keep it inside the door just to keep it organized. Then what we can do is we can now add the action, and we can actually call this function. And then inside the function, what we want to do is we just want to, so we're going to set the animation frame first for the button. So we're going to set frame and just set that to 1. So that will now push the button down. On top of this, I'm also going to add some sounds actually. So using the method before, in the previous video where we talked about sounds, you could create some new sound effects. I have already added some, so what I'm going to do is what we'd do is we'd add an action, audio, we'd hit play, and then as you can see I've got click door and door. So the click door is just basically the button clicking down, and then the door is the actual sound effect of the door opening. We can duplicate this, and then I'll also play door. As you can see, if I just play this, it's got like a door sound effect, and then the clicking is just a simple, just a click noise. So now when we collide with the button, it's gonna, and the animation is 0, sorry, we're then going to call this function which will set the button frame to 1, and then play the sound effects. Next, what we want to do is we want to actually set the frame of the door. So all we need to do is we now need to just right click, and we want to add a sub event. We're going to say door, and we're going to compare the instance variable of the state we just created. So we want to say, is the state equal to 0? If so, we want to set the door frame to 1. So state equals 0, set frame to 1, and then we can just Control CV this, and then we can just flip this around. So if we say if it is equal to 1, set the frame to 0. And it's as simple as that, guys. So one thing we will do quickly is we also, if we then go into the behaviors, and we just add a solid to the door so you can't pass through it. And let's test this. So if I click jump over, as you can see, we can't pass the door. And then we can once you hit the button. So that's it for this one, guys. It's nice and quick. That's just how you set up doors and buttons. So this is great for puzzles as well if you want to do things like that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.